Hello and welcome to Obsessive Geekery, where I've got something stuck in my head and now you get to hear about it. This week I watched Netflix live action adaptation of Avatar The Last Airbender. Despite the first episode being a little ham fisted with its exposition and not exactly striking me that well, and its last episode changing a lot of things, not necessarily for the better, I actually enjoyed the series quite a bit. The first episode, again, was ham-fisted in its exposition, and a lot of the dialogue was a little cheesy, but they had a lot of things to set up, and they just didn't do it very well. Katara's actress was a little flat initially and through most of the first episode, but thankfully improved a lot as the series went on. The other complaint I have about the first episode is that Aang flies and flutters around like he doesn't need a sky bison or a staff for aerial locomotion, and that causes some serious issues later on if you're paying attention. Like when it's a big dramatic thing when he's falling out of the sky off of the Fire Nation vessel early on, except we've already seen him fly in similar circumstances, so why is he so worried, and why does Appa have to catch him? Again, another pass on the script could have solved that issue, but that's neither here nor there. The second episode was really well done. That's where most of that's where we went to Kyoshi Island, met the Kyoshi warriors, and the Sokka and Suki stuff was done really well. Honestly, most of these episodes feel like a mashup of 3 or 4 episodes from the original series, and considering they have 8 episodes to cover the ground of like 26, honestly, it's something we probably should have expected going in. And they handle it fairly well. As for episode 3, Omashu, they turn into an Aang gets captured episode instead of a Aang's got to free his friends from a confused old friend of his. It's not bad. It's well done and it's well put together. It does make things a little awkward, but it's still pretty enjoyable. Episode 4, Into the Dark, turns the secret tunnel and a lot of the sneaking back into Omashu stuff from later episodes into a single story about Aang fighting Bumi and Katara and Sokka sneaking into Omashu because they fled while Aang got captured in the last episode. Episode 5 covers a lot of the spirit world stuff that the first season of the animated series covered. You get a consultation with Roku there, whereas we got a consultation with Kyoshi earlier in the season. We get Aang going into the spirit world to try and free some lost villagers, much like he did in the animated series, but it's expanded and combined with other plot lines to give them more to do in the spirit realm. You get a small cameo that you don't know is a cameo until later, which is kind of an interesting way to do it. And you get a lot of Ko the Face Stealer showing up and getting involved. The 6th episode is mostly Aang figuring out a way to deal with Ko and get his friends back and all the captured villagers. In the animated series, again, Ko was kind of an encounter later on, and the main story of this plot was the Spirit Bear. The Spirit Bear is a little encounter that they have to figure out how to contend with without the use of their bending, because in the spirit realm you don't have access to that. The 7th issue shows them finally getting to Aang Kale, which honestly I don't think was ever named in the original series, or at least not widely. It was always referred to as the Northern Water Tribe or the North Pole. But I guess it makes sense for them to focus on it a little harder. And all the stuff with Katara learning waterbending and breaking through Master Paku's prejudice was really well done. The choreography of all the fight scenes in the series are actually really well put together. The bending looks great. The firebenders are a little simplistic in their form, but it's a whole lot better than trying to give them a whole ballet performance before they actually get to throw any fire around. Airbending leaves something to be desired, but it's really hard to animate air visibly, so I can understand that. Water's really well done. Earth bending's really well done. It's honestly probably the best we can expect out of a live action show in that regard. The final episode, episode 7, also deals with the Sokka Yue the Sokka Yue relationship, which is awkward. It's poorly put together. It's trying to string a bunch of information covered in the first series in part of a single episode, and it leaves something to be desired. At this point, Sokka feels less like Sokka, and Katara feels more like Katara. I hope we get a season 2 and they kind of even out that distribution a little bit, but I'm not really feeling the UA relationship. It'd be better if it was put together better, but it's just kind of awkward. And then the last episode, Legends, mixes up the battle of Agna Kala and the assassination of the Moon Spirit. It's filmed really well. It's acted really well. It's directed really well. It could have used another pass in the writing room. They changed some things probably to make it easier and more plausible live action audiences and general audiences. But I wasn't a huge fan of the changes they made to the lore, but ultimately they're not all that consequential. The biggest detraction from this episode is the fact that the Sokka Yue romance was poorly done, to say the least. It's not a travesty like some of the bad romance movies you see, but it's done so much better in the animated series, and it's fine. All in all, like I said, the bending is really well done. The fight choreography makes it look like the people who spend their lives mastering martial arts to manipulate the elements actually know how to fight. There are a few minor slip-ups that, if corrected in the scripting, would have made the show a whole lot better. But with what we got and what they gave us, it's actually a really good show. I like it. It's a good time, no alcohol required, and if offered on DVD, I would probably buy it. And it's probably worth seeing again. If you enjoyed the review, like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment as to other things you'd like to see show up on the channel. Thank you, and have a good day.